Hey folks, it's your boy Dino, aka your Solid Five, and this is Beyond the Ether podcast. Today we're doing something a little different. Normally we talk, horror films, which we will be, but we'll be switching it up a little bit. We have a writer. We have Joseph Federico. Am I saying that
Hey,
right?
that's correct. Joseph
Okay.
Federico. How are
All right.
you?
Well, it's been super, super busy, but in a good way. You know,
That's correct. It's the fall season. We're here.
the best time of year.
It is the best time of year.
Yeah,
Agreed.
it's
Yes.
it's. I'm always waiting, and I'm like, fuck yeah, come on, come on, come on.
I know.
So let's start with going back to your history. So tell me about you.
Where do I begin? As an author, as a publicist,
Let's
as a
go
as a horror fan?
let's go a little bit of your childhood, like, and what got you into liking horror.
Horror. Okay, so two major memories stick out where I knew I was a forever horror fan. Number one, this is back in the 90s. Not to date myself, actually, both stories relate back to the 90s. So
Hmm.
there we go. I remember one Christmas, I received the entire box set of R.L. Stein's Goosebumps
Oh yeah.
for the holiday season, and all I wanted to do was go home, not see family, not give a crap about Santa Claus
Yeah.
or anything like that. I wanted to read all the books, all the books at one time. So I was a diehard fan of R.L. Stein then. I still am,
Yeah.
including his Goosebumps series that unfortunately got canceled, but that's a whole different conversation. And I remember watching Swamp Thing back in the 90s as well. I think early to mid 1990s on television. And I was so inspired and freaked out by this character that, kind of adjacently kind of correlates, at least in my mind, to the creature from the Black Lagoon esque, just a little bit creepier in my opinion.
Right.
And I had watched the show and I was inspired to actually write a news article about
Mm.
um, Swamp Thing meeting Santa Claus because I had seen a piece about this on the news and I wrote my first news piece, back in the 90s. So really just like pop culture and reading and learning about all these creatures was my first taste in horror.
I was obsessed with Goosebumps when I was coming of age.
Oh, they were such a good series.
Yeah, I know. But I only, obviously I stopped after a certain time, but I don't know like the order. Like I forgot where I stopped, but it was like probably the first couple, like I guess you want to call them seasons, of like
Okay.
series of books.
Yes.
It stopped, and then I was like, I just kind of started playing video games and stuff like that instead.
Yeah.
So I was like, why read when I can just like play shit? Um, yeah. So actually, like for me, it was I accidentally got into horror because my brother rented Faces of Death on VHS.
Okay.
And at that time, that movie was like in a black box. I think it had a skull on it, like
Okay.
crossbones. So like be aware. And
Yeah.
my mom didn't. She was oblivious. She didn't know. And then so they popped it in. And, all this crazy shit started happening, and they sent me to bed though because I was still very young. I was probably like somewhere like five to seven or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And they knew I'd probably freak out. So of course I snuck out and I was like watching like all this crazy shit happening on screen.
Of
But I was
course.
like terrified because it was like it looked real. Like all this stuff was like it was like watching like smut on YouTube before like YouTube started banning,
Oh yeah.
all the crazy shit. So my mom had to like
That's
sit with
funny.
me. Yeah, my mom had to sit with me. She's like, like all this stuff, like they make it so it looks real, but it's not really. And I was like, oh.
It's
And
all
then
special
it
effects, baby.
and then it like a switch flipped in my head, and I was like, oh, I gotta start watching more of this stuff, you know, like this
Yeah.
is cool,
Yeah.
and then I just became like obsessed with like renting every single tape I could find. My grandma would just give me her card, and I would walk to like the local video store, and I would rent like every cheap horror film I could find.
Oh man, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, just like going down the Rolodex of like whatever was there. I was like, okay, well, I didn't see this one yet. I didn't see this one yet, and I just kept going and
Yeah.
going. And then of course, over time, it just kind of like changed. I was more into comedies and stuff like that, and then bouncing back and forth.
Yeah. But you made a great point. I remember, and I wish they would bring video stores back. I remember the
Hmm.
excitement of ordering a pizza from your local pizzeria on a Friday night, Saturday night, or even with your friends. As
Yep.
I would get older, more middle school and high school, go to the video store that had VHS tapes and go to the horror section and get creeped out by all the covers
Yeah.
and deciding on which one to pick based off of how freaked out you had, you got. So I wish we could bring those days back, to be perfectly honest.
I know, because you had limited information. You only had the cover and whatever the description was in the
Exactly.
back, you know?
And they sold you on the cover, and that was so
Yeah.
important for the marketing. Yeah.
Because even now, like I'll browse through, whatever, and then I'll put on something that has a cool cover, and all of a sudden it's just awful. And I'm like, well,
There's a lot of crap out there,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And one day I'm gonna be one of them too, but I'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Um, and so what brought you into writing?
Well, again, my first taste of journalism was writing this breaking news piece on a little.
Oh,
I
right,
think
the
it was
Swamp
like
Thing.
a Cotton World, the cotton brand. My mom was into fashion. She had those pads around all the time. So I
Mm,
just grabbed something off of my parents' desk and I wrote down this article. And I had done fake interviews and made up this whole story. And I got into writing essentially then without really knowing I was getting into writing,
right.
and or journalism. So I originally went. I had my first internship at a publisher, M. Evans Inc. Publishing, in 2005 in Manhattan, and I thought I would be
Mm,
this big time publisher living with my partner in Manhattan, and everything would be hunky dory. That wasn't the case, and that's fine. And I'm actually glad it didn't work out that way. But I
right.
had always been into writing. I was an avid reader, still am, and my partner and I published our first book through Arcadia Publishing that was not horror. It was historic nonfiction. And
The
went
Galloway
through,
Township, right?
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
Galloway Township. Exactly. And there's a story behind that. So I'm not sure how much time you have, but I can get into that, which kind of led to where I am today.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So
Because I'm very
Galloway
interested in it because
Township,
I didn't I can read it in time, so
no, 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 no worries. And it's available, and it actually
yeah,
sold out its first day on Amazon, which I'm really, really proud of being the
that's
co-author
awesome.
of that project. Uh, I didn't see any money from it all these years later, but it was before I had turned 30 with my co-author and my team, at the Galloway Township Historical Society, and it almost did not come to fruition. So,
Mm,
long story short, my sister-in-law had just had our eldest niece, who's actually just turned 21. Happy birthday to Leah. I'll show her this when it comes out. And my in-laws had moved into, in the early 2000s, a historical property, a old home,
right,
and she wanted to know more about her property because she was in one house. Is She lives on Smith Bowen Road. I'm not going to say the address, but
of
it's in
course, yeah.
Galloway, and there are two houses that look identical across the street from each other.
Mm.
So she wanted to do some research even before I came into the picture.
That's not creepy
And
at all, right?
oh, I'm sorry,
Although that's not creepy at all.
not at all. But also now, the version of me that's a historian, this makes more sense as to why I was attracted to the project with my partner, and it all
Right.
kind of, the universe aligned. So my sister-in-law said, I don't have time for a project. She reached out to the publisher, Arcadia Publishing, and she said, you know, I would like to learn more. And they offered her the project. There was
Like,
nothing about Galloway Township at the time.
okay,
So she goes, well, my brother and his partner are lit majors, and they have worked in publishing. Why don't we offer the project to them? Not having full-time jobs or careers at the time, many, many moons ago, we said yes.
yeah.
So it took a few years to get in with the historical society, get in with the publisher. The publisher actually said no. They almost squashed the project originally, believe it or not.
Wow.
And they said, you're from North Jersey, you don't have any ties to Galloway Township, which is actually about 30 minutes from Atlantic City.
Okay.
And then we had to, pay our dues. I mean, actually pay our dues financially to become part of the Galloway Township Historical Society.
Ooh,
We had to get their blessing, prove to the publisher that we were in on this project 100% full speed ahead. Brought it back to the board. It got approved about maybe like 1 to 2 months later, and the rest is history. But we had to do everything ourselves, from
Yeah.
PR to research, put out our own money. But it sold out its first day on Amazon. So that was my first real taste of becoming an author, was back in 2011 when the book got published.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm proud of that, but it was a whole process that I would probably never go through again. But it
Right,
opened the
right.
door. It was a stepping stone. Yeah.
Yeah. So fun fact, I growing up in the town that I grew up in, there was a house that was said to be I don't look the stuff up, I'm too lazy, but apparently it used to be like a mortuary, like back in
Wow.
early settlement. So
Uh-huh.
so they say, right? So, but they used to store bodies like in the basement and like in the extra room and stuff like that, and they would have viewings and whatever.
Sure.
And so that place is haunted for like, and probably still is because it's still there. They haven't knocked it
They
down. It's
haven't
still,
changed it.
they haven't changed
Wow.
anything on it. Yeah. So, and it's the only old house on the block. Like
I
everything
love
else is
that.
new. Yeah.
I
So
love that.
I was like, fuck. But we had so many crazy stories from that house. It was just wild and,
Sure. I'm sure.
scary. So when people like make mockery of like, like spiritual, not spiritual, but like, ghosts and all that stuff. Like I take it seriously because I'm like, well, I grew up in that shit. So like
So
I'm deep in it. So
you like are used to it. That makes total
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why I don't watch like the Conjuring series and stuff like that because the couple were frauds. Um,
Yeah.
so like I don't watch any of them because I'm like, well, you're just
A good marketing tool, and they're
yeah,
certainly entertaining, but no, I completely understand. Yeah.
yeah. I'm like I refuse to even watch the new one. So um,
Oh, Last Rites or Last
yeah,
Right?
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't
even
seen
though I
that
heard it's
one yet.
good, I heard it's good, but I'm like I'm not even gonna touch it. So.
No, you don't want to support
Good
that.
for them. Good for them for keeping it strong, and they were gonna have an HBO
Sure.
series at some point, but I'm just not down with it.
Yes, yes. I heard on social media within the last few days that I think the project got greenlit for
Yeah,
like a series.
HBO.
So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
So I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
pass.
all right.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, so that's my intro into becoming an author. Yeah.
so Galloway Township. That's South, right? South Jersey.
It is. It's
Yeah,
about 30
and then
minutes from Atlantic City, and it actually, before the railroad came through, to Atlantic City, Galloway would have actually been Atlantic City, had like nothing changed. So
okay, and
yeah,
that's kind of where the Jersey Devil spawned,
it is.
supposedly.
Yes, I just
Okay.
got chills. Yes, it is.
I didn't get obviously I didn't get to read up on it. I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's interesting, but I haven't, I didn't dive into it like I wanted to because I just didn't have
Yeah,
time. But I was like,
there's plenty of time, or you can just talk to me
yeah,
about the highlights. It's fine.
yeah. I want to know the highlights because all that stuff interests me because it's like the lore and everything behind it is just so fascinating.
Yes,
So
it is
so what's
very
going on with the
fascinating.
yeah?
I'm sorry.
I was just saying what's going on with the devil.
Well, the devil, well, unfortunately, I've never met him, so that's disappointing. But when my in-laws and I and my partner and my two nieces, when they were younger, we used to go on fall trips called, this is really silly, called Boots and Tops, where we would buy new sweaters and new boots and go out in the Pinelands and just go to different shops, and see different, sites around, that area in the Pinelands.
Right.
So one of our original stops years and years and years ago was actually the original foundation of where the Leeds family had their original home, which is the birth of the Jersey Devil. So I was in
Mhm.
the vicinity. I just never got a chance to see him or meet him, unfortunately.
Right.
But I have everything up here, and I know the folklore very well. It's very prominent in the Pinelands. So yeah.
So like how did it spawn? I mean like or the lore of it.
What's the original, like the
Yeah.
origin of the folklore?
Yeah.
So supposedly Mother Leeds, in the Pinelands near Galloway, New Jersey, had
Mhm.
12 children. Unfortunately, she got pregnant with a 13th child. You knew
Ugh.
the whole folklore around that number 13. It's bad,
Yeah.
it's witchy, especially back, oh my gosh, 17 or even 1600s, about. So many, many moons ago, of course.
Right.
And while she was giving birth to her 13th child, she has said, "Oh, I wish it were the devil," or something along those lines. And supposedly, this baby came out looking like part horse, part goat with wings and hooves. And the fire was roaring, and she had 12 children around her that she had to care for and feed. And she had cursed herself and her family and the child. So it
Mm,
came out not as a human, and it spread its wings and it made this roaring, terrible, disgusting noise and flew out the chimney, up the chimney, and the rest is history. So supposedly, since I believe it's the 18th century, he's been haunting South Jersey and the world ever since. So
interesting. Yeah, I
yeah,
never would have known.
yeah,
That's pretty
it's I
awesome.
mean, but like he is like on T-shirts. He's had sports teams named after
Yeah.
him,
Hmm.
the Jersey Devils,
Right.
hockey teams. He's in books,
Video
television
games. Yeah.
shows. Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah,
It's a good marketing tool,
it's
you know?
great. And he has longevity because he hasn't gone away in how many years?
Yeah.
So come on.
That's the cool thing about all these, creatures and stories is like they never die because you can't
No,
prove them really, you know?
and they shouldn't die because that's a part of humanity. That's the human experience, wanting to
Right.
believe in something other than ourselves. You
Yeah.
know. So I mean, like at least for me, from the perspective of a marketer, a publicist, an author, and a historian. So
And so eventually that got you into the Voodoo series?
wow, yeah. So that's an interesting story. And it still is, by the way, all these years later. So 2012, my partner and I, we have a place in North Myrtle Beach called the Ocean Creek Plantation. So we stay there. It's a gated community. There's a beautiful beach, and there's a beach bar, and all this fun summery stuff. Right. This is
Mm,
2012, and this is our first 2 full week vacation down there. And we went to the beach bar. It was then called the Crow's Nest, and they literally had buckets of these delicious drinks, these island-esque drinks called Voodoo juice. Not anymore. It's called something else, but back
mm,
then. So I'm a little pleasantly punched, and I'm an author, and I'm thinking, well, I'm into ghosts, and there was the Ghosts and Legends theater that was across in Barefoot Landing at the time. Rest in peace. It was a really great interactive ghost shop and theater for many, many years.
yeah.
So they had lost their funding and shut down to retire and to do other things in Hollywood, and also with their local legends and tours. So I was really inspired by just like Southern culture. It was a culture shock to me being from New Jersey,
Right.
my entire life. So I was down there drinking and writing down notes, and the book had originally was originally taking place in the 90s at Ocean Creek Plantation across from Barefoot Landing. And I was writing out these intricate character descriptions and songs I would like to listen to on my iPod at the time to be inspired, and things I wanted to do and learn about the voodoo culture because that always inspired me, you know um, the occult,
Right.
different cultures and religions, just still inspire me to this day, to be honest. So it was only supposed to be a summer project, and I put it away. Only broke it out during the summer months while I
Mm,
was a little bit tipsy, because authors are supposed to write drunk and edit sober, is what they say, right? So
yeah.
um, broke it out every summer, a little bit here, a little bit there. Then I went to New Orleans, 2014, around Halloween. And that was the end of it for me, as in the next chapter of my becoming, a published author. This whole series just took on a life of its own. And again, you're in New Orleans, we're wearing masks and beads and being mindful of our surroundings, but being enveloped in this culture. Again, a
Right.
culture shock. And I had absolutely been in love with New Orleans pretty much since high school for whatever reason. I always wanted to go to Mardi Gras. Never been.
Mm.
I've been to there around Halloween, which is like a mini Mardi Gras. I've been there for Christmas, but never for Mardi Gras itself. One day I'll get there.
What
And I
time of year is
walked
Mardi
in.
Gras?
I'm sorry.
What time of year is Mardi Gras? I
Oh,
always
so
forget.
that's before Easter. That's the lead up to
Okay.
Easter. So like
Okay.
like like it all depends. Like February, March ish. Like all depends on how the calendar for that year or where it lands. But
Right.
It is said that you should go a week before, stay during Mardi Gras that season, and then stay a week after Mardi Gras is over because you can't get in and out of the city easily, at
Right.
least. So I walked into this club called Oz with my best friend Melinda, who's my best friend, my manager, my inspiration, my muse. And we're drinking, and there's the thumpa thumpa and the dancers and the lights. And I had this vision for what it, you know, for what it is. I had this vision when I looked up and I saw this glowing Oz sign with all the fancy lights and the streamers and dancers around it flashing in front of me. And I looked up and they have a wrought iron balcony inside of this club where you can go dancing and is the DJ booth. Other
Mm.
bars are upstairs. And I didn't know this at the time. I had since explored that area of the club itself. So I had a flash of another idea of how to evolve the original Voodoo Juice into a place where it took place in New Orleans. So 2014, and it's a time travel novel that also goes back or takes the reader back to the 18th century
Mm.
French Quarter. So it's been a wild ride, at least for the first book, and there's more I can talk about, of course, but I don't want to take up
Yeah.
the entire. Yeah, well, it's wild. So then I came home, and of course I'm distraught. I felt all this energy and met different people and drank and ate and just learned about the culture of New Orleans and its history. So I'm bawling when I got home off the plane from Newark Airport, and I'm like just crushed. And I said, well, I'm going to carry this with me. So I decided to make writing the book full time, change the entire story, all its characters, have it
Mm.
set in New Orleans. And then I had worked on it more full time until it got published or self
Nice.
published, mind you. Yeah,
That's one thing that I've always wanted to do is to go to New Orleans. Never, I honestly I haven't gone anywhere yet. It's
you
like,
need to go.
I
You
know.
need to go.
I was just talking to my co-host on another episode. I was like, dude, I haven't gone anywhere. Well, I've gone to Texas. That's the farthest I've gone. But
Hmm.
like, I want to go to like Japan, and a few other places. But like
Yes,
Japan's like my number one spot. But I would love to just go anywhere with lots of history and stuff. Because why
I
not?
highly recommend. I highly recommend. And if you ever go to New Orleans, you hit me up, and I'll prepare an entire itinerary for you of your must sees. Yeah.
If I ever get money, sure. That's always
Let's
the
make
issue,
that coin. Let's make that coin.
right? I know. Trying to get this YouTube money.
Absolutely.
Um,
Monetize.
it's been tough. And so like while you're publishing the books and stuff like that, is this the time when you also had another podcast, the Pride and Promotion, right?
So this was way before.
Okay,
So I had published it originally, self-published in 2017. So here's the timeline. We worked with Arcadia Publishing. It got published, through a larger publisher, which was Galloway Township in 2011. Waited, and I said, I'm not going to go through a large publisher anymore. So I created the imprint and the LLC for Anchors to Dust Publishing. Self-published the first in the Voodoo Juice series in
mm,
2017. So that
okay,
was the first. That was the next. Pride and Promotion wasn't until 2024.
wow, okay.
So there was a big time jump. Yeah.
And what was that about? And like what was your general feel of the show? What you're talking about?
So marketing tips and tricks, namely from a queer perspective, and we
Right,
brought on. I had a co-host into the second season, but it was just me. My producer Scott at the time had helped me bring on, and as well as myself, because I work my tail off on just always like self promoting and building community within sub communities and just connecting people. And I really
right,
do appreciate that, but it's a necessary in today's just world landscape. So I brought on a bunch of different authors, a bunch of different clients of mine that I had worked with successfully with their marketing, and I would
okay,
just run interviews. And for about like 40 to 50 minutes each episode, give or take a few minutes here and there. And it
yeah,
was just run interviews and just speaking about their take on marketing. on their book, on their business at in corporate in the startup world, and just offer that unique perspective to the wider audience to assure that people got noticed. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, notice like the 40 to 50 minutes like the sweet spot generally, you know.
Yes, it
Um
is.
I
20
actually
minutes is kind of too short.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
over an hour is way too long, but you have
yeah,
more to work with. And I have been noticing the evolution of podcasting, which I'm
right.
sure you have as a professional podcaster, that the longer you go, actually I'm gonna flip that. I apologize. Most people are going longer on their recordings so they can whittle it down and
Right.
utilize
The
the
best of this.
the for clips for social
Right.
media. Exactly.
Yeah, I had a well, this is like my fourth podcast. So like I had one I don't know, it was like 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years
Uh-huh.
ago. Me and my friend started it because it was funny because she had like a whiteboard, right? And she had like just a bunch of random shit on it. And
Yeah.
she's like all the stuff that she wanted to do, the stuff that she needed to do, etc. And on the corner, like the top corner, it was like start a podcast. And I was like, Melanie, that's what we need to do, And it
Done.
was, yeah, I was like, I got a laptop, I'll buy microphones, like it'll just be like me, you and I just talking
Yeah.
about whatever we feel like it.
Highly
Eventually,
suggest. I highly
yeah,
suggest, like everybody should at least be on and or produce a podcast
yeah,
sometime in their lifetime, because it's a great way again to reach the masses,
yeah,
in
and it's just
mass
fun.
communication.
Yeah,
And it's hard, but it's challenging, and I highly
right.
recommend that.
Yeah, yeah. We had that show for like 4 years. We brought her friend on it also, and we were mostly a comedy, and we
Sure.
brought we brought we collaborated with other podcasters, but we were trying to get like more big names. Um, and that
Yeah.
was really hard because we were just nobodies. So eventually it fizzled out because life happens, right? So
Life. Yeah.
yeah, and then I started another. Well, I guess this is my third. No, no, fourth. This is my fourth. Okay, so then I started another horror one with another person from work.
Sure.
We were watching films, reviewing them, talking shit or what we loved about them, etc. And then I don't know, for some reason that just kind of stopped. And we started again with another horror about comedy stuff, and that one just kind of like stopped as soon as it started. So
Sure.
and then the horror one that we were supposed to start it, but then she died, and I was like, well, that's unfortunate and it
Sure.
sucked. But and then we just happened to do this one, and we just been getting lucky, like with the people that we've been getting on. So it's just been like an amazing ride so far. And
Well, I'm honored, honestly, to be a part of it, because I've been doing homework on you guys for a while. I've been listening to your episodes, and it's just an honor to be here to speak to as a guest, but also speak with you on this cast. So
yeah,
thanks.
we love talking. We love talking to everybody, and I want to hear everybody's stories and whatnot. So
we are
and
all
then
so we're all so similar, but we're also different, and
right,
that is our strength.
yeah,
And that's why I truly love just being on podcasts and just meeting different people.
yeah, it's like the highlight of my day, honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
same here. No, really,
yeah,
because I'm like the humdrum of meetings and trying to get business and this and that. And I'm like, let's focus on just learning about somebody else for once, which is not to sound mushy, but it's a beautiful thing. So
yeah,
here
yeah,
we
hell
are.
yeah. So like, so besides the podcasting and you're writing the books and about the Galloway and all that stuff, did you have like any paranormal stories coming out of that?
So many. So growing up in a very Italian Catholic family, my parents and grandparents, especially on my father's side, and they were all in the Bronx, and I loved going to the Bronx. It was like an amusement park every time I went, because it was not New Jersey.
Right, right.
And a majority of my family was over in New York. So growing up when I was younger, sitting at dinner tables and holidays, and whenever a light bulb blew, which wasn't very often, but it happened, or
Yeah,
a door slammed, or a breeze came through for whatever reason. My parents, as well as my grandmother, would say, just as if it were normal, "Oh,
yeah.
hi," and the name of a deceased relative.
Okay.
And that always freaked me out. And I'm like, is this a haunted house? Like, is this like, why are we saying hi to
Whoever.
Or
Yeah.
my deceased grandfather, for instance. So he had actually passed when I was one in
Okay.
1984. I never met him, to remember
Right.
him, but I'm also his namesake. His middle name is his first name is my middle name.
Okay.
So there's that, and it always freaked me out. So I was always into the macabre, loving horror, reading R.L. Stein, as I have talked about, Anne
Right.
Rice, Stephen King. I was really big into Stephen King, and the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark series also
Yeah.
freaked me out. So I was
Yeah.
really like into that, not knowing that there was a spiritual realm that I could explore as a young adult and even an adult. My first encounter with spirits essentially were trying to think which, I guess if we're talking about New Orleans, so let's talk about New Orleans.
Okay.
So my first trip in 2014, I'm sorry, it was my second trip. I've been there 4 times. I don't want to
Right.
continue. I eventually want a house in New Orleans, obviously, for why I'm telling you these stories, because it's
Right.
just a fabulous place. I want a place to write and enjoy and have an Airbnb situation.
Yeah.
So my friend and I were at the Maison Dupuis, 2014. Sorry, again, 18. You can edit that out or not. I'm human. So 2018 is our first day. We get off the plane, we go partying, we go here, we go there. Now it's nighttime. We hadn't changed. We had done this entire day full of tours and just everything in between, meeting different people at the hotel bar, so forth and so on. We came back to the hotel. We walked down to the lobby. I said, "Oh crap, I forgot my wallet or cash or something in the
Mm.
room." She said, "Okay, I'll grab us a few drinks at the bar. You go upstairs, get your stuff, and come down and we'll go out again." Big mistake. So I'm going upstairs, and again, it's the Maison Dupuis. It's very haunted. I think historically it was um, a few different buildings that were part of like a grain factory or grain house in the 1800s.
Okay.
So I go up to whichever floor we're on, let's say the second floor, and there's a double elevator shaft in which you can come in and out of. So I go up one, walk to the room, get my whatever
Stuff.
it is, my
Yeah.
money in the safe, lock the door. It's quiet, but that's usually how it is, before dinner time and the partying really gets
Right.
started in any hotel. And I walk through double doors around towards the elevator shafts. And in between the two shafts, through the brick and the wallpaper, comes, swear to God, on my grandmother's grave, this 7 to 8 foot figure comes through the brick. And I'm walking
Surprise.
casually. I'm like ready to go out.
Yeah.
Let's go. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. You're like,
Like,
I'm about to get turned up, and all of a sudden this thing shows up.
and I'm like, okay, like something's wrong here, but I don't have time to react. It's just happening in real time.
Right.
So this gentleman, I said gentleman, because he looks like he was well to do, like well off.
Okay.
He had a top hat and like a 19th century floppy bow tie, and he was tall and he was dressed, but there was only half of him.
Right. Right.
And it was almost like a chalk outline
Okay.
walking through the hallway, and there was only half of this guy. And he looked very smoky, like he had
Yeah.
char on his face and his clothing. So half of him was walking towards me, and I'm almost 6 foot. This guy was 7 to 8 feet tall. And I looked up at him, and he looked down at me, and I wasn't freaked out at the time. I am now talking about this. I have goosebumps every time I, relive the encounter.
Yeah.
So he looks down at me. I look up at him, and we cross paths. And I look back almost as if I was in slow motion. And he walks through the double doors, like this other part of the hallway where the floor turns,
Okay.
and just disappears. So I'm flabbergasted, and I'm like, "Well, that happened. Maybe I'm just exhausted, doing this like in the cartoon, squeaky
Yeah.
eyes." And I go down to my friend and I'm like, "You'll never believe what the hell just happened."
Yo, give me a shot right now.
Yeah, like, let's do 3 drinks, three
Yeah,
shots.
I got some shit to tell you.
I got some heavy shit to tell you. Welcome to New Orleans,
Yeah,
because the first time New Orleans was like, it kind of got me. I mean, it got into my soul, to be honest,
right,
my
right.
blood. But it treated me. It's always treated me well. Thank goodness.
Yeah, the one time I saw one, I was again very young.
Yeah,
I was in the living room and the heater was on, which I think was an indicator that it kind of absorbs some of the energy to like
sure,
appear, right?
sure.
Because you know how they say like it sucks out the heat in the air, like that's
Yes,
why things get cold and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah, this old lady just like walks like past the TV and she's like only half, like and then she walks
half
through like
again.
the yeah,
Wow.
and she walks through like it was a weird setup. So the heater was like an L shape kind of like that was a part of the wall that like kind of turned into the living room.
Yes,
And then so the heater was blasting out there, which is a weird setup, but it walked through that and then it disappeared. And I was like, I think I was like 7, and I was like, Mom,
you were
did you?
little.
Yeah, I was like, did you see
Oh,
that? She's like, check out how much TV. I'm like, okay. She's like, you're just seeing things, whatever. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think this is real. So I was like freaking out,
yeah. Oh,
And
no,
when
no,
we,
no, no. That happened to you for a reason. I'm
yeah,
not sure what that is, but that happened to you. Oh, absolutely. Wow. 7 years
and
old.
yeah.
Yeah, that would have scared the shit out of me.
Oh, I was
Like,
like frozen.
I wasn't
So
told in my 30s when this had happened,
okay,
in 2018, but I was freaked out. So
yeah,
that was the only time that had happened in New Orleans up to that point. More locally, so I also have, I'm not going to try to sound like mystical and magical. I have, I'm in tune with the spiritual world sporadically. Let's put it that
right,
way.
yeah, me too.
And I can communicate. That probably sounds like send this guy to the insane asylum.
Yeah.
It's not how it is.
Unfortunately, I
um,
can't communicate. I could just feel it, you know.
you can feel it.
Yeah,
I can communicate. So here's one of the scariest. Actually, I was going to tell you something else, but we can say that for another cast and or later. So I'm in Myrtle Beach for 2 weeks, 2022, with my partner. Again, we continued the 2 weeks of our vacation, going down there for 2 weeks at Ocean Creek. So we drove because Spirit Airlines and the tickets were getting too expensive. We said, let's enjoy traveling again. So we rented a car and we went to Virginia and then we went to Myrtle Beach. And on the way back, we drove back to Virginia and back home, from there to New
right,
Jersey. So on the way, sporadically, unplanned, we needed gas. We needed to stop to eat, use the restrooms and just rest up before the last leg of our trip. So our playlist randomly was shooting out the end of Black Parade by My Chemical Romance
okay,
with the war drums, the
yeah,
the percussion. And that was the first part of the freaky occurrence. The GPS kept on bringing us through like a cemetery and battlefield.
yeah.
It wouldn't let us go anywhere else.
That's crazy.
We stopped at a McDonald's in the middle of a battlefield.
Oh yeah,
Welcome to like modern conveniences, right?
yeah,
And I'm like, I'm dying for like a cheeseburger. We have to relax and just rest. But it was
you're
eerie. It was a weird day.
yeah, you're like, but those fries though, we gotta get those fries.
But those fries, let's, induce a heart attack with high
Hell
cholesterol
yeah,
after the trip.
just
Why not?
gotta pound your chest a little bit. You'll be fine.
Oh man, exactly right. By the way, I'm a big proponent of McDonald's. Like when it hits the spot, it hits the spot. So if we can get a feature from McDonald's or a sponsorship,
God, that'd be
I'd,
amazing.
I'd I'd be in hog heaven.
I just want a
So
sponsorship.
I'm sorry.
That's all. I just want a sponsorship.
Well, let's tag them.
All right.
So we stop, and it's like kind of raining. Still the end of summer, and we order our food at the front. We put our stuff down. I go to the men's room. I'm washing up my hands, and there's a mirror, a personal mirror in front of the sink, on top of the
Yeah.
sink. And I wash my hands, and I bend down, and I look up, and I'm still wearing my man bag, with my phone and my wallet, everything in there, and
Your
receipts and
Merce?
everything.
Yeah.
And I look up, and there's a flash of light in my head, in my eyes.
Okay.
And I looked in the mirror, completely freaked out, and I saw myself looking back at me from the Civil War.
Oh shit.
Has never happened to me since, or up to that point. So I'm looking at myself with longer hair, chops, a beard, scruffy, with my uniform on, all my equipment. And I slowly walk out of the bathroom, go talk to my partner. I say, we got to get out of here. Like,
Mm.
something is not right with this place. I want to go home. Do laundry, shower, go to bed, and never talk about this again. That didn't happen. So we're eating our, delicious fries
Yeah.
and, Big Macs. And there's a big picture window where we were sitting at this place in Gettysburg. So my partner's back was to the window. I was facing the window out across from, as I had said, in the middle of a battlefield, and there was a cannon. So I had seen a uniformed gentleman almost on replay
Okay.
pushing this cannon back and forth on like repeat. I'm thinking, okay, this is not going to end well. Something is about to blow up here.
Yeah.
So then I'm eating my nuggets very slowly, and my partner's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I'm just tired, just trying to, like just like sweep this under the rug."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're not eating. You look weird. You're kind of pale. Like, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "Okay, I got something. Don't freak out. I got something to tell you. Spirits were lining up coming out of the battlefield to talk to me,
No.
and they weren't like handsome soldiers or anything that looked normal. They were dead, decrepit beings
Okay.
that looked like they were missing jaws and noses and eyes, and they were bloody. Oh, I don't want to say zombies to sound like an
Right.
alarmist,
Yeah.
but they looked like they were dead, and they had crawled out of the field, and they were lining up for blocks, waiting to talk to me.
That's crazy. Not crazy, but like interesting, and I wish that something like that happened to me.
But yeah, but do you though? Like,
I'm
mm,
weird. I'm just
be
weird.
careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I know.
So they're
I
all
have a,
looking at me.
yeah,
They're all looking at me, and I'm like, we have to get a bag. I want the fuck out of here.
yeah.
I don't want this to follow them to follow us home to New Jersey. I never want to talk. Like, let's just go. We're out. So that was the crazy experience that had happened to me,
Hmm.
which was Gettysburg, in PA. So,
Okay.
um, I have many, many more. I can come on again, but that's my craziest spiritual ghost story I
And that's
can
for
share
sure a
with you
hot
guys.
spot too. Yeah, that's for sure a hot spot. So
It is 100% a hot spot. I mean,
yeah.
we had gone with our friends, the same travel friend Melinda that I go to New Orleans with, um, and my our friend Karen. We had gone just for the day. This is years prior, and we were in the forget what building it was, the orphanage at the end of a ghost tour, and we had known this building because of Ghost Adventures. I love Ghost Adventures for many different reasons. I know not everybody is a Zach Bagans fan. I happen to be one. Um, but
I
we
went on a
were,
tour. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but you know what? Like, he's great. He's entertaining. He markets himself very well, in my opinion, and
Yeah.
the whole show on, I think, Discovery. So we're in this orphanage at the end of the ghost tour, and there are like row seating, and there are benches. So my partner and I were on one bench. My friends Karen and Melinda were behind us, and we're about to line up to exit, the home or this orphanage.
Yeah.
And something taps me on my right shoulder. And I turn around to my friends. I'm like, stop fucking with me. I'm tired,
Yeah.
but don't just admit you're messing with me. And they jumped back and they were like, I swear we didn't touch you. And they did the arm, tests where they showed that they couldn't have touched me from where they were sitting.
Yeah.
So something had touched me as well at the orphanage in Gettysburg. So if you want to say it's a hot spot, 100%.
I've had experiences of, and a lot of this stuff can be explained, right? Especially like sleep paralysis and stuff like that.
Yes.
But there was one time I got shooken in my sleep, like really like extremely, like
Oh,
violently,
oh
and
no, no, no.
yeah, I was again very young, and I was just in bed, and like I felt something just violently shake me with the hand,
Sure.
and then I just like just threw the covers over my head. I'm like, fuck this, I'm not gonna look at whatever it is. So that was the only time I've
Mm-mm.
been touched by something. But
No.
I have a weird theory about, and obviously it's obviously just a theory, and you know, it doesn't explain like physical stuff, but
Sure.
so all around the world there's like magnetic like hotspots,
Hmm.
and so sometimes I feel like instead of the spirit leaving, it gets stuck there like a vinyl record, and it just kind of repeats itself sometimes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and
That makes sense.
I think that's why like some places are haunted in a different way, and not obviously not the physical stuff though, but
Sure.
uh I like to think it was true, but of course I don't have any facts to prove it.
Sure.
But
But also you have to be open to it.
yeah,
And it's not necessarily a scary thing
right,
being approached or seeing spirits or being or communicating with them, or when something moves or you have something, a feeling. It's just energy, as you
yeah,
had said,
right,
and you can choose to ignore it or be open to it. And I chose the path, especially since my occurrences in 2022 in Gettysburg, to be open to it. Now I suppress it sometimes,
yeah,
where I just too busy with my life to even be a part of that world, right? Or the other
right,
world. But when it happens, it happens. And I can speak for myself and my experiences. I can't control when it happens and when it doesn't. So,
yeah, yeah. Like I have another fast story. My ex-wife, she wanted to check on her mom because I live like 2 miles away from it.
mhm.
And she's like, she's not doing good. She's not responding to a lot of my texts and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Can you go and check it out? And I was like, I didn't want to, but I was like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of history with us. So
Sure,
I
sure.
go, I go check and knock on the door, but there's a light in the apartment, but she was doing meth, for a while. So
Hmm.
everything was all locked up and blocked up, you can't see
Ah,
anything. So
yeah.
it's locked down, right? And but there's a light inside, so I was like, well, she's been there at least. So I called her back. I'm like, well, she's not here today, so maybe she took the bus somewhere or something.
Yeah.
Um, and she wasn't doing her dialysis either, so she was supposed to be. She just decided to get high and just fade away, I guess. So
Yeah. That's sad.
the next day I go back again, and I'm like trying to get in. I asked the neighbors, I'm like, have you seen her come out? They're like, nope, we haven't seen anything. No, no noise, nothing. And then I just kind of stood outside the front door, which is upstairs, and
Hmm.
I just knew that she was dead. I was like,
Yeah.
she's in her room, pretty sure her room, because I can feel like something, right? And I was like,
Sure.
she is unalive. So again, I leave, I tell her, and then the next morning she's like, can you go, please go back? She's not responding, blah, blah, blah. And right as I'm about to leave, she calls and they did a wellness check on her, and she was found dead in her room. And at one point, I think a couple of days later or so, I forgot how long it was, but I helped like clean some of the stuff out,
Hmm.
and then I had to leave because there was so much like negative energy, like it was so like heavy and maybe nauseous and like so much pain and like just all the bad stuff you can feel. But it was only like in certain rooms, and I was like, dude,
Yeah.
this is crazy. I
That's
gotta leave.
energy.
Yeah, and I
Here's
gotta
the
leave. I can't be here.
here's the quick question. Was she a shorter woman, your mother-in-law?
No, she was like an inch taller than me.
And it's okay with glasses?
She wore them sometimes. Yeah,
Yes, she wore glasses.
yeah.
Okay. I just had something pop up in my apartment that I just wanted to make you aware of. So
Oh,
she's here.
which is
She's
weird
here.
because
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't say we had a bad relationship. I just kind of stayed my distance a lot of
Hmm.
times because it wasn't my drama. It wasn't my like
Sure,
responsibility
sure.
really
You
to
wanted to help, and it was what it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, obviously we could all do better, right, at some point, but I felt
As
like
humans, 100%,
yeah,
a hundred
yeah, but
percent help each other out. Yeah.
So it was sad, and I had to, luckily, I mean not luckily, but me and the ex were so far away from each other that like I couldn't
Sure.
comfort her in some way, but
Sure.
um,
Yeah.
it
I
was
mean,
just a
I
sad situation.
100%. I mean, I'm sorry that that happened to you and your family, number one, and I hope she didn't suffer. Um,
I
but
don't
it
think she did.
happens. It
Yeah,
happens, you
yeah,
know. So, ooh, but you can't from my experiences, you can't deny energy.
yeah.
When I was at the Whaley House, I didn't tell you this, in California, it's one of the most of one of America's most haunted, locations, the Whaley House.
Where's this at?
Um San Diego. It was
Okay,
old town San Diego.
because I'm like right next to
And
San Jose, so it's kind of far away from me.
yeah, but I highly recommend going if you have the chance.
Yeah, I definitely want to
So
go.
it's like a self-guided tour. You go through where the family lived and they, give you a pamphlet and or a sheet. And this was summertime. This is like also years ago. And before I had learned about my whatever I have,
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, so we were walked through this house. I didn't feel anything, until the very end.
Right.
And I went to a room on the first floor, the ground floor, where one of the Whaley daughters had committed suicide.
Mm.
And there's like plexiglass, so you can't go in the room, but all the lights are on. It's dressed as if it would have looked as how it would have looked like when the family was in the house.
Yeah.
And from behind the plexiglass, all the way in the back, there was a bathroom or storage room or something in that room. And I had gone in there by myself. And I felt this rush of energy, negative energy,
Yeah.
dark, like you were saying, this ball of nastiness,
Yeah. It's like heavy, right? Kind of.
heavy,
Yeah.
fly into my chest,
Mm.
like right here. And it flew into me and I had to leave immediately. I said, no, whatever
Yeah.
this is, you're not welcome, and I don't want to be feeling like this. I
Did you
felt
get
her
nauseous?
heaviness. I'm sorry.
Did you get nauseous?
Kind of, yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I did. It was like feeding off my energy, or like my
Right.
fear.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I will
I'm out.
never go back to the Whaley House either. No, sir. No, ma'am.
Hell no.
No,
Yeah.
no, no, mm-mm. No, no.
Um.
Yeah,
So I actually went to the Zach Bagans tour in Vegas.
you did.
Uh,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Okay, I'm
it was
jealous.
awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So there was actually two rooms that I felt different, right? There was like I think it was the starting room that you go like, so not the waiting room, but like I guess like the second waiting room. And there
Okay.
was something in that room that was like giving off a certain kind of energy. It wasn't heavy though. It was like just something that was like aware of our presence, And I was like, that's weird. Like that's the first. But then we walked through, we went through every other part of the place. There was so
Sure.
many cool stuff there. I mean, they had like a dog, like a what do you call those? Like a puppeteer room where this guy like
Yes.
committed
Hmm.
suicide and somewhere in California. And like my cousin was like, well, he's schizo though. He was like, dude, those dogs are like staring at you, and I was like, are they like where?
They
And
are. They are.
yeah, I mean, you feel weird, when you're in there. So, but not like I didn't feel energy coming in there. And then there's the second room that I felt something was an exorcist room where they had a chair that like held one of the victims, or not victims, but the whatever you want to call it, the
Sure.
the exorcist. And
Yeah.
as soon as I get close to that thing, like putting my hand close to it, it was just like pure black energy just coming off of it. And I was like, I'm not touching that thing. Bad juju's gonna
Don't
happen.
touch it.
Yeah,
No.
I was like,
And then
fuck
you have to
that.
banish it. You have to say that it or they are not allowed to follow you back. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you touch it, that's when it can. Um, but luckily I didn't get close enough to where, I did touch it. But
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
terrifying.
that's a cool experience though that you'll never forget.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
also
And
kind of
then
jealous of that experience.
they had a lot
um,
they had a lot of cool shit there.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
Now, typically that I've learned over the years, especially in 2022, when everything kind of started for me regarding
yeah.
the spiritual realm, you should douse yourself in Florida water, which is a protectant, before
Mhm.
going into and or after going into like haunted locations.
Okay. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, yeah. Florida water is a spiritual, cleansing like material. It's water.
Okay.
It's a perfumed water that's used in like rituals and
Right,
voodoo
right.
and such. Yeah, and
Okay.
practices.
I mean, there's different ways of doing it, right? I mean, they have like sage that will get rid of spirits and stuff like that, and yeah, there's just
Salt
different
and
things though. Yeah.
but if you don't want to be carrying like a sack of salt with you or crystals,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
or
Totally.
sage, just buy a small bottle of Florida water and it should assist. So
Huh. So
yeah,
real quick,
I know because
because
I've dealt with it more often than I can
right.
count. So
So real quick because I gotta wrap this up. I got some stuff to do right after this.
yeah,
But so like obviously you love the R.L. Stein, Goosebumps, all that stuff, and got you into the horror genre. Was there like a specific horror film that you were like, oh, I'm checked in, you know?
fuck yes. Middle school with my friend Stephen Bolton. One Friday night, we ordered a pizza. Well, we didn't work, or we're working, so his parents got us a pizza,
Yeah,
and I watched Halloween for the first time. The original
yeah,
1970s Michael Myers Halloween got me hooked, and that has
yeah,
inspired me ever since. Hmm.
yeah. It's such a great film. I mean,
You can't replicate that. You can't even touch it. And
is
I've watched all of the remakes and
yeah.
all of the Rob Zombies, which I do love, by the way, for a very different reason.
The first Rob Zombie I was into, the second one I just was kind of checked out.
Everyone
I was like,
says that.
yeah,
Everyone fucking says that. I like the second one because it's more about the history of Michael Myers as a child,
yeah,
and it's more of a psychological thriller than a horror movie for me.
okay.
That's why I will stand by. I will die on that
Die on the hill.
mound of funerary expense because I love the Rob Zombie one, but I also liked the three requels, reboots,
Yeah.
um, with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, they're all
Were
different time.
also
They're all different
fantastic.
timelines. Like they're all different like universes, basically. I read some
Yes,
stupid thing about it where it was like each director had like a different like timeline version of it,
and
of
they
the
make
story.
no
So
sense. They
yeah,
make no sense.
I
But
know. I
as a
was like,
fan,
sure.
I'm forever in love with Michael Myers. I said
I,
it.
eventually I'm gonna get a Mount Rushmore of my favorite horror villains.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get Chucky, Jason, Freddy Krueger, and Michael Myers. So that
Yes.
I'm gonna get the Mount Rushmore of that. That's in my opinion, those are some of my favorite,
You got to send
original
me pictures,
characters.
man. Oh man, that's awesome.
Eventually, when I get money, I'm going to get that. It's gonna be amazing. Um,
One character at a time. That's actually gonna be a beautiful tattoo. That's awesome.
I'm so excited about it when I get the concept of it and everything. But yeah, unfortunately, I ran out of time.
Jealous.
But
Yeah.
we will continue a conversation at a later date. This was such a
Sure.
blast.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun to end my week. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the conversation. I would love to hear more about the books and everything. So,
Sure.
again, you can find me on the IG. I have two accounts. I have the podcast account, which is Beyond the underscore Ether, or my actual account, which is Kylie underscore DTO. And my co-host, which is usually here, but time constrictions. He is Bay Area Creep, and that's it we have for now. What do you got? Any
I
plugs?
am, yep, on Instagram. I'm Joseph A. Federico, or you can call me directly to book a consultation, talk about a book, or even about horror. 973-289-3517. I will respond. It's me. I'm human. I'm not a ghost. And thanks so much, truly, for having me on. I
It
truly appreciate this. So
was a blast. Yeah, we will do this again sometime. All right.
that sounds great.
I'll be talking to you when I see you next time.
All right, everybody, stay spooky. We'll talk soon.
Definitely.